Hey everybody, ¿qué onda? Beatriz
Hey.
here with Chisme. Some of you may know, I organize around water during the day, and I do Chisme for free on my free time. We publish local news, so you should subscribe if you're interested in fun things like desal and industrial water use. We just reported on a Bitcoin mining operation that started pulling water right
Mhm.
before the city put us in stage 3 drought restrictions. You can check it out at chismecollective.com. We haven't reported on what we're talking about today, but Rachel, that's why Rachel and Elena are here with us to get us all caught up. Do y'all mind doing some quick intros? I'll throw it to Rachel first.
Sure. My name is Rachel Caballero. I am a community advocate. I've tried to run for city council before, knowing that the likelihood of winning is probably not very high, because I've refused to take special interest money. But being involved in all of this stuff for the last 5 years, I've learned a lot about bad things that are happening within our community. So it might have been, I was running for city council at first, but now it's completely changed because there's so many things going wrong with our local governments. So it's forced a lot of us community members to come out of sleeping and get involved. So here we are.
Eh, Elena, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'm Elena Martinez. I am an internal auditor. I have been an internal auditor for since 20. I've been auditing since 2017, and I got my accounting degree back in 2016. So I've been doing the work that I do in some fashion for almost 10 years. Um, I got started with city council because there was a lot of information going on with the internal audit department, with the city auditors department, and I just felt like somebody who has a background in that needs to start looking into that information. And then all of a sudden, here I am talking about desal and all kinds of other stuff. It's really weird, the city council world. Once you get involved, you just can't stop being involved.
It's like
Yeah,
once you can't stop knowing.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. The more you dig, the more you find, man. With
Oh,
these
it's
guys.
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
As an
Um,
auditor, I will say that is definitely true.
yeah. All right, so before we get started on the fraud, wanted to get a sense of where y'all are at after the Inner Harbor got killed. A lot of people are asking like, what next? So yeah, I was curious to hear what y'all's next steps after that big milestone.
I think obviously it was a huge win for the community. It was a huge win for, um, I think, the entire city, because now we're not going to be forced into this astronomical debt that nobody can afford, for an experimental plant that they're not even sure is going to work. Um, I I know that a lot of us celebrated within the community for sure. I know that the old establishment are still trying to bring it back. There's
Oh no,
Oh, it looks like she got
Rachel, we
cut.
lost you. I don't know if you can hear us. Let me text her.
Okay.
Um,
Um, I can speak on it a little bit while we're getting her back. Oh, unless there she is. I don't know.
she's still there, but
Um,
it's like her camera stopped working.
yeah, for me, it's just that the plan was bad from start to finish. So they need
okay.
to come back with a
Sorry,
better
my phone
plan.
rang.
Oh,
I put it
Oh,
on do not disturb. Go ahead, Elena.
oh, I was just saying they need to come back with a better plan, not the same plan that they're just trying to ram in. It's like trying to put a square piece into a circle hole. It's not gonna go. It's not gonna fit. And and so you just have to find the right plan. A lot of people are not anti desal. They just want the desal done right.
Right,
They want it not to be in Hillcrest. They want it not to be something that's going to destroy our environment. They want it not to be something that's going to cost a whole bunch of money and not have. It's it was just a bad plan. So they need to come back with a better plan, or at least start working on a new plan. Um,
right.
And then hopefully, if it's a good plan, it won't take nearly as long.
Well, and they keep saying that it's, I heard somebody on the radio today saying it's uninterruptible, which beats, we
Not
know
true.
that that's 100% not true. We just got another a notification that the desal plant in San Diego had to get another $200 million because it's not functioning. And that there's just too much to this that's experimental. You have the keyboard warriors that are, the old establishment that are, have never stepped foot into industry or actually working with desal. They're kind of computer people, and they want for us to believe them when we have, true chemical engineers who are saying like, hey, this isn't going to work. So I think we can't assume that no, it's a done deal. I think we're going to have to keep fighting those guys. I know that they're probably going to bring a lot of candidates to run next year to make sure that they have a yes council like Mayor Wajardo had whenever they approved this, whenever they signed up for the SWIFT loan. So we're just gonna have to stay diligent and stay on this and keep informing the community of everything that's going on.
For sure. Yeah, it's interesting how everything's playing out. But I'll move on so we can focus on this. So let's get into the fraud allegations. I'm gonna just give a little bit of background. In April of last year, there was a big controversy over a $2 million federal incentive that went to Homewood Suites downtown across the street from Lucy's and Executive Surf Club. The lawsuit was filed in September 2024 against the city, or a lawsuit was filed against the city for voting to approve this incentive. And then last month, the internal auditor concluded that there's a reasonable basis to conclude that fraud, abuse, and or illegal conduct has occurred. The city auditor involved the FBI, and the mayor and Roland Barrera asked them to get CCPD instead, which is kind of funny. Rachel played a portion of the deposition interviews from the lawsuit against the city during public comment and connected it to desal. So can you tell us about what you played and why you played it?
Yeah, I received a anonymous information and it had the depositions in there. So I think I probably received a total of 7. And I decided to go ahead, and I think that the community has a right to know of all this stuff that's happening. A lot of stuff within the city manager has created an environment that is uh, tight-lipped. They don't disclose anything. They're not honest with the community. We've all learned that through the desal process. They've been misleading the community for a really long time. And I felt because those depositions had already been made public, that it would not hurt airing them. And so I decided to do that. And the reason why I did decide to do that, even though it's a continuing investigation, is because just like everything else is being put on the back burner and nobody's talking about it, and so it gets brushed under the rug. And I think the community needed for this to come to light, because we need to understand the level of corruption and the level of deceit and the level of lowness, for lack of a better, descriptive, that our elected officials and city staff is willing to go to get campaign contributors, tax incentives. And so in the meantime, they're forging federal documents, and then the community is paying $2 million, for those tax incentives based off of fraudulent federal information. So I just felt like it was really, really important for the community to know what was going on with some of these electeds.
Oh, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I have a lot to say as far as the fraud allegations go, but I do want to start with a couple of things that were said at City Council and set the record straight, because they're allowed to make statements of facts and then we aren't allowed to respond to them in real
Mm-hmm.
time. And I do have a procedure coming up, and so I probably won't be available to make public comment on this coming Tuesday. So I would really like to make these statements now. The first thing I want to say is uh, when Carolyn Vaughn called the deposition videos just those videos, I feel like it diminished the importance of the fact that it was a deposition. And for people who don't know, a deposition is a legal procedure. It's part of the discovery process in a court case. The second thing I want to address is Roland Barrera made a statement. He asked a question. It implied that because it was a deposition, wasn't the one who swore them in, that nobody was under oath, when in fact that's not true.
Right.
He asked, "Did you swear them in?" Which implies that nobody was sworn in. And as the daughter of a court reporter, my mother has been a court reporter for almost as long as I have been alive, and she's very good at what she does. Court reporters are duly sworn officers of the court.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the ability and the authority to swear in a witness, and that's what they do. So, as somebody who was deposed, Mr. Barrera should know that he was sworn in, and the oath that you take whenever you're in a deposition is the exact same as you take when you're in a courtroom. The penalty for perjury in that instance is the exact same. So, it is just as serious testimony whether you're in a deposition or in a courtroom. So, I think that's an important thing to remember when we're looking at these depositions and people are trying to minimize what was said in them as if they're not good enough evidence. They are good enough evidence for a court of law. They can be used to impeach a witness on the stand. It's very important that we remember depositions are sworn testimony. So I wanted to get that off my chest because it has been eating at me since the meeting last week. And then also, I want to say that I think everybody knows that I don't agree with George Holland on a lot of things. I've never met the man in person. I was told last week that I need to get in touch with him. I haven't yet. But I will say that in this instance, this is one of the things he did right. Um, he he went through a preliminary investigation, determined that there was enough credible evidence that it needs to be investigated further, realized that there's a possible conflict of interest because the people under investigation are his direct supervisors on city council. And so he
Mm-hmm.
took it to a third party, which is the FBI, because it was a federal form that was forged. And so the FBI is the appropriate law enforcement agency. Contrary to what the mayor would like you to believe, the FBI is in fact law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because she did say, shouldn't this go to law enforcement instead of the
Yeah.
FBI? Well, the FBI is law enforcement. It's just a federal law enforcement agency. And then you take it on. They wanted the police chief, the CCPD chief, to take it on as an investigation. And I will tell you, his direct supervisors are city council, and members of city council part of the investigation. So even if he would do an honest job, just the appearance of a possible conflict of interest
Mm-hmm.
constitutes a conflict of interest.
Right. Well, and the Cheeseman part of this too is that the mayor and the chief like hang out personally together. So what position does that put the chief of police in when you have his wife's friend and his friend, you
Mhm.
know, under investigation? Like that's a complete conflict. And that's probably why you had Roland Barrera, Mark Scott, and the mayor, advocating for, I think you should take it to the chief. I think you should take it to the chief. Well, no, like, and it's really hard to sit in these meetings and and Elena, you both of y'all have sat through these meetings where it feels like they think we're stupid.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like they're talking and they're thinking like, oh well, and a part of me is I've been thinking about this and it's like I think that they bank on the majority of our community not being very smart and knowing all these different processes and conflicts of interest and damning evidence and damning depositions and the severity of forging a federal document for 2 million of our tax dollars. And it just gets super frustrating sometimes because you want to be like, we know that that is not a good
Hmm.
idea, guys.
For sure.
Absolutely. I think there's also a lack of negative feedback that they get because of the rules of decorum. They sit on the
Hmm.
dais, and I'm not saying that this is their fault in this particular case. They sit on the dais, they make statements, and they don't have a lot of nobody has a lot of opportunity to directly refute their claims in real time. It has to be done after the fact and during
Hmm.
public comment, and sometimes it's a week later.
That's a good point.
Well, and
Um,
I kind of feel like that's intentional because they moved obviously public comment till after they vote. So that's another, red flag. They claim that they're only supposed to tell us statement of facts, but in the last three meetings, they've become extremely argumentative with the public commenter, resulting in three arrests. And then you also have now, and I don't, you guys probably didn't see this, it just came up on uh, K triple I, where, when we would walk into city council at the building and there's a metal detector. Well, guess what these Peter Zanoni did? He put a metal detector at the entrance of the chamber.
mm,
So we have to go through two metal detectors now.
Yeah,
Like,
and
and how is that not intimidation?
mm,
yeah, and additionally, I will say this. And and I'm not saying this to give them ideas, but if they're trying to really be safe, they really should take a lot more. And they don't
Take
really
more
check
what?
your
yeah.
Sorry.
bag. They need to take more
Ta-
care.
oh yeah.
They don't really check your bag. You hand them the bag, and then they
Mhm.
just kind of move it to the other side, and then you walk through the metal detector with all of your stuff in your bag, and they don't look through it. I don't enjoy people looking through my things, but if they're going to be there for security, they need to actually provide security.
Yeah, I mean, it's a show of force. No, I think that's
I think
kind
it's
of
a
what.
show of force too.
Yeah, it feels like a show of force, and exactly, they don't take this as seriously until they need to, right? Until they feel like they can make a point.
Hmm.
Political tactic for sure.
Mhm. All right. Cool. So I wanted to give Rachel a chance to talk about the petition that's been launched. It was launched shortly after the deposition, right, came to light most
Hmm.
recently.
Well, I went ahead, I filed a petition, and the part of the city charter says you have to have five registered voters at minimum. My issue with getting more than five registered voters on that particular petition was because I have witnessed this myself, is that their city manager and the mayor are extremely retaliatory, obviously, because now they're putting security outside of the chambers. But like I wanted to protect as many people as I could, so I got six solid people, registered voters, to sign it, and now we have an online petition. Initially, I was not going to do the online petition, and so basically, how this petition works is it was filed on August 29th, and now it sits in the hands of the city council. So last week, the city council voted 4-1 because you had four abstaining. The mayor, Roland Barrera, Mark's
Everett Roy
Mayor Wahardo, and Everett Roy and Carolyn
and
Vaughn. They abstained. Mark Scott voted against it, but four voted in favor to move the findings of the this lawsuit to outside counsel. Um, and so once so now it's kind of in a holding pattern with city council. Okay, my intent for getting the petition online is to, when they have to come to make a decision, and we have 5,000 people that have said, hey, we're ready to remove the mayor, or then they have leverage, and they can say, look, we've got, these 5,000 community members that are saying we don't we it's time to remove the mayor for her illegal and unethical activity. And so initially I was thinking not to do the online petition, because that doesn't really, I mean, it carries weight, but it's not the same as the petition submitted to the city secretary. But when I saw the mayor mistreat city staff, which she's accused people of doing on numerous occasions, she mistreated the auditor, she mistreated the city employee that was helping the auditor, and she was denying all of it, all of it. She was calling the investigation ridiculous, and for me, that was enough for me to say, you know what, she's not being humble, she's not admitting to, I might have made a mistake. She's going full force, and calling people liars. And so far, I think it'll, by the time this is over, they will have deposed 13 or 14 people. So, as the videos that I've seen so far has been 5 depositions from 5 different people. Okay, 4, sorry about that. And they've all uh basically have said that it was the mayor, the city manager knew, um Mike Culbertson, the CEO president of the Economic Development Corporation, Heather Holbert, the assistant city manager, Neiman Young, the other assistant city manager. And I know that the mayor has been deposed, Roland Barrera has been deposed, and I probably will be getting access to those here shortly. But all of these people are saying, yeah, hey, we knew, but they wanted to push it through anyway. And for me, that's something very, as somebody who believes that the government should be working, and I've been indoctrinated in school to believe that the government is on our side and working for us, and seeing something like that happen, and listening to those depositions that were so damning. We've Corpus has been known, and you hear about it from other people, that Nueces County is super corrupt, right? And we can't change that until we change it. Like, and this was a step for me, for our community, to be like, you know what, we're done with all this corruption. We're ready for solid representation. So I'm really hoping that that's what this petition does, and it wakes up a lot of people who just haven't been voting. They don't vote because they say, like, oh, nothing never changes, and look, they still raise all of our taxes and our rates. And I'm like, yeah, bro, but they're doing that because not enough of y'all are voting to vote for the people that will actually hold the city manager accountable and say, hey, fix the budget. Like, your budget is insane, you know? And so it's just, it was, I think it's needed. I think it's needed for our community. And I think that it, is going to show that we are against this corruption and illegal behavior, and unethical to boot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Elections are next year. So, yeah,
Yep.
definitely have some time to get enough people to. I mean, these are the times that we should be trying to rally people around voting, as
Yeah.
proof, right? Like, these are the crises that these dumbasses put us through. So yeah, I wanted to. We have about 5 minutes. So I wanted to give Elena a little bit of time to explain the ethics commission to us.
Mhm.
She was just appointed. So yeah, wanted to give a sense of that. Yeah, congrats for sure.
Thank
Congrats,
you.
and the huge asset to that committee for sure.
Thank you so much. My first meeting is tomorrow. I'm very excited. But in the meantime, I have been studying. I pulled up the ethics ordinance, the code of ethics on the city ordinance, and reviewed some things and started looking at the ethics commission, exactly what it's supposed to do and how it's supposed to work. So basically, if you have an ethics complaint, you have to file it in writing. It can be certified mail or handed in person to the city secretary's office. There is not an electronic option. You have to do one of those two things, and that's outlined in the city ordinance. And basically, you have to name, each complaint has to be a single person. So if you have an ethics complaint that has multiple people involved, you have to do a separate complaint for each person. And you have to be very detailed. You have to have a lot of evidence. You have to know which ordinance that they broke. And you really need to make it airtight, because after it goes to the city secretary's office, it actually goes to the city attorney's office. And the city attorney determines whether or not there's enough evidence and enough credible evidence for it to move forward to the city ethics commission. Then what the city ethics commission will do is I love saying we will go through it and we'll look at it and we'll determine if there's enough to hold a hearing. And then we'll hold that hearing, and the hearings and the city ethics commission meetings are open to the public. We hold the hearing, and then we determine if we believe an ethics violation actually happened. And this is honestly, it's a very convoluted process, if you ask me. And then we will make our recommendation to city council, who will then make a determination on whether or not our recommendations will be.
Nice.
So that's what the city ethics commission does.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if there was an ethics complaint filed from a city staffer, right, against another city staffer or a council member is kind of the cases you guys would deal with.
Yeah, and it could come from a member of the public as well. It doesn't have to come from a staff member. Members of the public have a right to file ethics complaints. So, for example, if you're at a city council meeting, you see a violation of city ethics ordinance, you can go and make note, maybe even include a link and a timestamp to the video where it came from, and then you include all of that in your ethics complaint, and you either hand it in person to the city secretary's office or you send it by certified.
Nice. So if anybody was to do that, Elena's your girl. How to do that, maybe?
I can provide, as a member of the ethics commission, it's very probable that I shouldn't walk you through your particular ethics complaint. That would be a significant conflict of interest. But what I can do is direct you to the city website where the instructions are and talk you through what the instructions are and what they mean. And then you could do your own work and research and make your own determination on how to do that.
My bad. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yes. She's given me a little bit of a lesson and notes and stuff. So, and we don't want to do anything to jeopardize her position on the committee because we need her there. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, reach out to me and I can answer, thanks to Elena. Before she was on the board, before she got on the board.
Before I was appointed to the commission, I was like, here's the ordinance, and I gave it to her.
Nice.
So yeah, I can help out with that too. And by the way, that petition to remove the mayor in it's 1 day short of a week, so 6 days, we have 821 signatures. So it's moving. My goal is about 5,000 people, which is less than 0.0 something percent of like the registered voters here. But it's more to send a message to say, we're done with these shenanigans. Anywho, but yeah, so if y'all need help, I can help with the ethics forms, hopefully.
Yes, they're very long and very detailed. So you have to be really prepared to fill out that form in detail, or they're just going to throw it out. There is an appeal process, but it's pretty lengthy.
Okay. Cool. I think we're at time. Any last words on the fraud stuff, the petition, or anything else y'all want to close with?
If y'all could please forward the petition to everybody that does not like how the current situation is happening, and the reason why we have not gotten rid of the city manager is because of Mayor Paulette Guajardo. She's been protecting him. They gave him a major golden umbrella last year in case he was ever terminated. So I believe that it would be a huge step in the right direction to have her removed, and then hopefully he would be next. So send out that petition, please.
Yeah, it's in the chat, y'all. Check it out.
And thanks for having us.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you for having me.
Peace.
I just want to say that don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody. I like you guys, but I don't trust you.
Yeah. What is Councilman Hernandez say? I trust you, but I don't trust you.
I would like to believe that, and I do believe that most people tell the truth and are honest. But if we trust everyone that we hear, then we're gonna believe anything. So
And
just
it's
remember,
politics.
almost
It's
anybody
politics.
in the right circumstances is capable of fraud. So just remember that. Um, the only thing that keeps some people from fraud is just what's in their heart, because they'll have the opportunity, they'll have the reasoning behind it that they can rationalize, but they just can't uh, get themselves to do it.
Yep.
Interesting. All right, some parting words for y'all. All right, thanks everybody for joining. Thank you,
Thank
Rachel, and thank you,
you.
Elena,
You're
for
welcome.
joining.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Good night. Yeah,
Yes.
bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.